Salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man wala. Amma ba'du. Alhamdulillah, we have reached the 28th reading from Al-Qira'atul Rashida. And this is the second part of Al-Barid. In lesson or in reading 27, we read the first part, a conversation between Khalid and Tariq. Khalid had no idea how mail worked, and Tariq was explaining to him. And we left off where Tariq had explained to him how the mail reaches to who it goes to in whatever city. Here he's going to talk more about that bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So we have al-barid, which is the mail or the post. And as we said, whenever we see these two things in front of that, we're going to say qala. Alright? Qala. We could write it a little nicer. Alright? Inshallah. Qala. Qala Khalidun. Khalid, he said, وَكَيْفَ يَكُونُ السَّاعِي يَا طَارِقُ أَنَا مَا رَأَيْتُهُ قَطَّ. وَكَيْفَ, and how, يَكُونُ, is he, السَّاعِي, and السَّاعِي we said here, meaning the one who walks around, but here meaning the one who walks around with the mail, Sa'i al-Barid, right? The one who walks around with the mail, the mailman in America, we would just call him the mailman. The people who work in the post office, they wouldn't necessarily be called mailmen in America, but they do work for the mail, so. وَكَيْفَ يَكُونُ السَّاعِي يَا طَارِقُ, and how is the mailman, Ya Tariq, O Tariq. Ana ma ra'aytuhu qat. Ana, I, ma, here's a negation before a past tense verb. Ra'aytu, I didn't see. Ra'aytuhu, I didn't see him. Qat. Qat here means ever. Basically, ever, never. I never saw him. It's a definitive, right, of what you're talking about. I never seen him. Qala Tariq. Tariq, he said. And this is obviously a story taking place in India. The author was from India, right? And so he describes this as you see it in India. These are books written for non-Arabs, not for Americans, not for British people, right? No, they're written for just all non-Arabs in general, but he is definitely in this story going to be describing India. Qala Tariq. Amma, not amma, remember, amma with a shadda on the meme means as for. Here, amma ra'ayta rajulan. Amma, ma here again a negation. Is a question. Ma ra'ayta, you didn't see. Amma ra'ayta, didn't you see? Making the statement, ma ra'ayta, you didn't see, a question. So if I said you didn't see, how would I turn it to a question? Didn't you see rajulan? See what? Rajulan. Maf'ulun bihi, mansub. Yartaddi. Yartaddi coming from ra dal ya. Right? This is form 8. Yartaddi. This is form 8. Right? Meaning to be clothed or to wear. Ama ra'ayta rajulan yartaddi, that he's wearing or he's clothed in hullatan. He's wearing hullatan. Hulla, right, means a suit or garb. Hulla, a suit or garb, clothing, like an outfit. رجل يرتدي حلة. Wearing what? حلة مفعول به. From ha lam. لونها. Loan is its color. لونها. Ha referring back to the حلة, feminine. لونها, its color. رمادي. Ramadi is an ash gray, like the ashes from charcoal, that color gray. It's not a super dark gray, right? And it's not a super light gray. It's ash gray. Ramadi. لونها رمادي. فيها أزرار نحاسية. فيها in the hulla, or on the hulla, on the suit, right? I want to say in the suit, but on the suit. Azrar, the plural of zir. Buttons. Azrar, buttons. Zir, button. You know, like on clothes. Right? Nuhasiyya. Nuhasiyya is from nuhas. Nuhas being brass. But because azrar is a non-intellectual plural, we're going to talk about it feminine singular, so its adjective is nuhasiyya. Right? Nuhasiyya. With brass buttons. On it was brass buttons. On that uniform is brass buttons. وَعَلَى رَأْسِهِ, and on his head. وَعَلَى رَأْسِهِ, رأس, his head. Imama. Imama is a turban. يَحْمِلُ, he carries. From حَمَلَ يَحْمِلُ, we had this in the previous lesson. يَحْمِلُ حَقِيبَةً, he carries what? A haqiba, a bag. Haqiba, a bag. Min jildin, from jild, from leather. Jild is actually skin, but leather is actually animal skin, right? Min jild. قال خالد, Khalid, he said, نعم. قد رأيته ورأيت حقيبة وهي ملآنة بالأوراق. قال Khalid, نعم, yes. قد, meaning an emphasis here. رأيته, I saw him. وَرَأَيْتُ, and I saw. حَقِيبَةً, I saw what? I saw حَقِيبة, مفعول به منصوب. I saw a bag. وَهِيَ, and it was. حَقِيبة is feminine. هِيَ. مَلْآنَةٌ. مَلْآنَةٌ, meaning full. From Mim, Lam, Hamza. Right? Being full. مَلْآنَةٌ. It's ملآنة with a ta marbuta because haqiba is feminine. وهي ملآنة بالأوراق, is full with awraq, papers, the plural of waraqa. Waraq or waraqa. Right? وأزراره النحاسية تلمع. وَأَزْرَارُهُ, and his buttons. Now, azrar here does not have alif lam on it, but it became definite with the pronoun. Azraruhu, his buttons. So the adjective is going to have to be definite, but we're not going to say nuhasiyatuhu. We're just going to put the alif lam on there to make it definite, to agree with its noun. And his brass buttons, talma'u. From lam, mim, ayn, meaning to shine bright. To shine bright. Right? Like we have Lum'at al-Ittiqad. The book Lum'at al-Ittiqad. It is about the bright and exemplary Aqidah. Talma'u. His brass buttons shine. Right? Shine bright. وعمامته, and his imama, his turban, تظهر من بعيد. Basically, it appears, or it could be seen, min ba'id, from afar, from far away. قال طارق ذلك هو سعي البريد يا خالد. That is the man, that is the mailman, O Khalid. وَالنَّاسُ يَنْتَظِرُونَهُ جِدًّا. As always, this is a typo. جِدًّا. And the people, وَالنَّاسُ يَنْتَظِرُونَهُ, from noon, the, ra, meaning they are waiting. يَنْتَظِر, intidar. This is form 7. يَنْتَظِرُ, يَنْتَظِرُونَ. No, form 8. I'm sorry. Form 8. يَنْتَظِرُونَ, يَنْتَظِرُونَهُ جِدًّا. They wait on him a lot. وَيَشْتَقُونَ. Yashtaq comes from sheen, waw, qaf. That's the root. This is a form 8 verb, which we have a lot of in these last lessons. Means yashtaquna means they long for, they yearn for, they crave, they desire, they miss. Right? Yashtaquna ilayhi, meaning they wait for him, they can't wait for him, they desire to see him. Khususan, from kha sad, especially fil qura. Fil qura, qura, the plural of qarya. Umul qura, like the university in Mecca. Umul qura. Mecca is called Umul qura, the mother of the cities. There, meaning the towns. Here, the villages. Qura, the qarya, the village. Khususan fil qura, especially in the villages, meaning because they don't see the people all the time, so they are waiting for their news. وَأَنْتَ تَنْتَظِرُهُ أَيْضًا, and you wait for him أيضًا also. إِذَا كَتَبْتَ كِتَابًا وَانْتَظَرْتَ جَوَابَهُ. Either when or if كتبت, you wrote. كتابًا, here it doesn't mean a book, it means a letter, a message, a note. وَانْتَظَرْتَ, and you waited. جَوَابَهُ, waited for what? جَوَابَهُ, waited for the answer. مفعول به, or the reply. Not necessarily an answer, but the reply. وَإِذَا طَلَبْتَ كِتَابًا, and if you requested a letter or a message or a note. طَلَبْتَ, from طَلَبَ. If you talabta, like the word talab al-ilm, is to seek knowledge, to request knowledge, to go after it. You don't just sit at home and you're not going to get it like that. You have to go out and get it and ask for it and question and ask and study and research and look. This is a talab al-ilm. وَإِذَا طَلَبْتَ كِتَابًا, and if you requested a letter or a message or a note. Min tajir kutub, or here kutub, kitab means rather an actual book. وَإِذَا طَلَبْتَ كِتَابًا, and if you ordered a book, requested a book, min tajiri kutubin, from a merchant of books, meaning a bookseller. Right? You ordered a book, you wait for the mailman too. Alhamdulillah. We remember when we used to have to wait for books. Now, alhamdulillah, we just have to wait to go to the bookstore. قال خالد ورأيت يا طارق, and I saw, O Tariq, رجلا آخر. رجلا, I saw a man. آخر. آخر is an adjective describing رجلا. So they're both mansub. But آخر is mamnu min as-sarf. It doesn't take tanween. Right? آخر, another man. Not آخرة. آخرة with a kasra on the kha will be last. Akhar means other, another. Right? Yartaddi, wearing. Mithla hullat as-sa'i. Mithla, like. Hullat as-sa'i. Hulla, any word after mithla is going to be majroor. Right? Mithla is mansoob here because it is what he is wearing. He's wearing like. The object of what he is wearing. He's wearing like or similar to. Hullati sa'i. The uniform or the clothes of the mailman. Wallahu, and he has azrarun nuhasiyatun. He has brass buttons. Wa ala ra'sihi imama, and on his head is a turban. Aydan, also. Walakin laysa indahu. Walakin, but. Walakin is but. Laysa indahu. Indahu is he has. Laysa is a negation. He doesn't have haqibatun min jild. He doesn't have a bag from leather or a bag from skin, a leather bag. وَهُوَ عَلَى دَرَّاجَةٍ حَمْرَاءٍ, and he is on a darraja, a bicycle. Darraja is a bicycle. It's feminine with the ta marbuta, so the adjective is going to have to be feminine. And hamra is the feminine of ahmar, red. وَهُوَ عَلَى دَرَّاجَةٍ حَمْرَاءٍ, and he's on a red bicycle. Arahu, I see him. From ra'a, yara, arahu. Ara is like this. But when we add the pronoun, this alif maksura here becomes alif mamduda, the long alif. Right? Arahu. Yadhabu, going, or he goes, bisur'a, quickly. Ka'annahu musta'jil. Ka'anna, as if. Ka'annahu, as if he. Musta'jilun, from Ain Jim Lam. We had this last unit, last reading. We said, La ta'jal. Ya Khalid. Don't rush, O Khalid. I'm going to tell you everything about him. Just relax. La ta'jal. Musta'jil, meaning he's rushing. Form 10 of Ain Jim Lam. Musta'jil, rushing. كأنه مستعجل, as if he's in a rush. قال طارق هو أيضا ساعي البريد. He also is a mailman. ولكنه لا يوزع الكتب. ولكنه, but he, لا يوزع, from وزع يوزع, form 2 of waw, zay, ayn. وزع يوزع, to distribute, to pass out. لا يوزع الكتب, doesn't pass out what? الكتب, the letters, the messages, the notes, or the books that you order. Min tajir kitabin. Right? But he doesn't pass out the letters. بل يوزع البرقيات, but he distributes البرقيات. This word comes from ba, ra, qaf. You might be familiar with this if you memorize some of the Quran, especially from the beginning of Baqarah, the 3rd page of Baqarah. Barqa, right? Barqa, meaning lightning. Barq. Barqiyat, as we can tell, related to the mail, something lightning, meaning something that needs to come fast, a message that needs to come fast. What do we call that? Or what did they used to call that when this book was written? A telegram, which we don't have anymore, probably, right? Almost anywhere in the world probably doesn't have telegrams, right? Al-Barqiyat. This is going to be the word for telegram. بل يوزع البرقيات. If you're wondering why you never heard this word before, because we live in a time when they don't distribute them anymore. We have emails and telephones. And ويذهب على دراجة حمراء. We can see حمراء here is in both cases ممنوع من الصرف. It does not take tanween, and it becomes مجرور with a fatha, because على دراجة, this is مجرور after على, right? حمراء is an adjective, it has to agree with it, and it does, but it's ممنوع من الصرف. It's مجرور with a fatha. Same thing here. على دراجة حمراء. من مكان إلى مكان, from place to place. ليصل سريعا. ليصل سريعا. Li here, the lam of ta'lil, in order to, and the lam of ta'lil, the lam of purpose or the reason, makes the present tense verb mansub. ليصل, from wasala yasilu, to reach. ليصل سريعا, in order to reach quickly. فإن الناس, for indeed the people, لا يرسلون البرقية, they don't send, from أرسل يرسل, form 4. البرقية, send what? البرقية مفعول به منصوب. They don't send the telegrams إلا لتصل سريعة, except إلا, except li, again the lam of ta'lil, making it mansub. لتصل, except that they reach, right? سريعة, quickly. How do they reach? سريعة. That's why this is mansub, called the hal, the condition. والناس يعرفونه, and the people, they know him, from عرف يعرف. They know him بدراجته الحمراء, with his, or by his, this ba here meaning by, they due to, they know him by or due to darajatihi, his daraja, be making it majroor, but because we added this pronoun there, it became definite, right? Ma'ruf. So the adjective has to be definite, whereas here al-hamra did not have alif lam because ad-daraja did not have alif lam. Same here. But here we have this pronoun darajatihi, which we didn't have up above. So we need to have alif lam here to al-hamra to make it in agreement, because daraja is definite, al-hamra has to be definite. And whenever you take a word which is mamnu min as-sarf and you make it definite, right? However it becomes definite, then it can take the sign of jar, even though without being definite, when it's indefinite, it does not take the sign of the kasra, the normal sign, rather it takes the fatha. قال خالد ولكن كيف يقدر رجل واحد أن يوزي الكتب في جميع أنحاء المدينة. He says, قال ولكن, but, كيف يقدر, from قدر يقدر, right? How is he able? رجل واحد, one person, one man, أن يوزع, to, or that, يوزع, making the verb منصوب. And يوزع الكتب, يوزع, to distribute what? الكتب مفعول به منصوب. في جميع, in all, جميع is مجرور after في, of course. أنحاء, أنحاء comes, it's the plural of نحو, not grammar, but side or parts or directions. في جميع أنحاء المدينة, in all the parts of the city, in all the direction, all the sections, all the sides of the city. How can one man do this? قال طارق. Tariq, he said, لا. في مكتب البريد رجال كثير. In the post office, رجال كثير. There are many men. Many men. ولكل, and for every ناحية, for every ناحية, also from anha, in every direction. It can also be the singular of that, right? من أنحاء المدينة ولكل ناحية. ولكل ناحية, in every direction from the أنحاء المدينة, in every direction from the directions of, or every part from the parts of the city. ولكل حي, and for every حي. For every حي is a neighborhood, a حي. من أحياء, أحياء being the plural of حي. من أحياء البلد ساع, and for every neighborhood, from the neighborhoods of the city, البلد here being the city, a synonym for Medina, ساع, is a mailman. This sa'i, as we said, when you put alif lam, you lose, or when you lose the alif lam rather, you lose the ya as well. Right? So same thing, we have al-qadi, right? Al-qadi, we have qadin. We have ar-radi, right? The one pleased, we have radin, right? And then we have something that you may know, you may be used to seeing if you're studying Arabic grammar. You may see al-madi for past tense, and then sometimes you may see mad, because it's without the alif lam, right? So وَلِكُلِّ حَيٍّ, and for every neighborhood, مِنْ أَحْيَاءِ الْبَلَدِ, from the neighborhoods of the city, sa' is a mailman. Khalid, قال Khalid, Khalid, he said, وَكَيْفَ يُنْفِقُ مَكْتَبُ الْبَرِيدِ الْأَمْوَالِ الْكَثِيرَةِ. وَكَيْفَ, and how, ينفق, from أنفق ينفق, form 4 of nun fa qaf, to spend. وكيف ينفق مكتب البريد, who spends? مكتب, the post office. مكتب البريد, how does the post office spend? Or الأموال, أموال, the plural of mal, and it's مفعول به, spend this wealth, al-kathira, this tremendous amount of wealth, this large amount of wealth. وَكَيْفَ يَخْدِمُ مَجَانٍ, and how يَخْدِمُ, from خَدَمَ يَخْدِمُ, meaning to, and we had this word previously, to serve, like خادم al-haramain, the servant or the custodian of the two holy sanctuaries, or the two holy masjids, right? That's what they say. Majanin. Majanin, meaning for free. How can this happen? Majanin. How can they do all this for free? Warijalul baridi, and the men of the post office, the mailmen. Yartaduna, they wear. Right? Just the plural of yartadi. Yartaduna, they wear. Hulalan. Hulal, the plural of hullatun. Hulalan, they wear hulalan, mansub, because it's the maf'ulun bi. They wear these outfits, these suits. وَيَحْمِلُونَ حَقَائِبْ, and they carry bags. وَيَرْكَبُونَ دَرَّاجَاتٍ, and they ride. رَكَبَ يَرْكِبُ, rakiba yarkabu, وَيَرْكَبُونَ, and they ride. دَرَّاجَات, the plural of دَرَّاجَة. They ride bikes. فَمِنْ أَيْنَ تَأْتِي هَذِهِ الْأَمْوَالِ. فَمِنْ, from where? No, from min. From min is from. أَيْنَ, where? تَأْتِي. So from where? تَأْتِي, the present tense of أَتَى, to come. So where? تأتي what? هذه الأموال. أموال showing us it's the fa'il. Actually هذه is the fa'il and أموال is a badal. But for our purposes, from where does this money come from? From where does this money come? قال طارق إن مكتب البريد. Indeed. مكتب, causing the noun after it to be mansoob. مكتب البريد مضاف مضاف إليه. Indeed, the post office. يأخذ, it takes. From أخذ يأخذ. من كل, from every. من يرسل كتابا. Every man, every person who. Every man, every who. يرسل كتابا. Everyone who sends a letter, a message, a note, or even a book. Right? بالبريد, by post off, by mail. قال خالد. Khalid, he said, وما هذه الأجرة ومتى تدفعها يا أخي. I didn't say أجرة. يأخذ أجرة. Ujra here meaning basically a fee, right? And ujra is a fee. Let me see if I can get us a better word, right? But it's a fee. It means that. In Muslim countries, the taxi is called an ujra, a fare or a wage, right? A fare or a wage or a fee, it can be, right? So they take a fare, they take a wage, they take a fee, right? From alaf, jim, ra, like the word ajr, coming from that root. They take a fee, min kulli man yursilu kitaban. They take a fee from everyone who sends a letter, message, note, book by post. قال خالد وما هذه الأجرة. And what is this ujra? What is this fee, this wage? ومتى تدفعها يا أخي. And when? ومتى, and when? تدفعها, from دفع يدفع, meaning to pay, to pay it, because ujra is feminine. يا أخي, O أخي. قال Tariq, he said, قد اشتريت هذا طابعة. قد, showing the completion of the action in the past, or an emphasis, right? قد اشتريت, I bought. اشترى, from shira, I bought. هذا طابعة, this طابع, which we said in the last lesson, our last reading. طابع is a stamp, right? That you place on the envelope. طابع, right? من مكتب البريد, I bought this. طابع مفعول به منصوب. I bought this stamp from the post office. مكتب البريد. وهذه هي أجرة البريد. And this, it is the ujra of the barid. It is the fee or the wage of the mail. قال Khalid, he said, أشكرك على هذا الحديث المفيد. He said, أشكرك, I thank you. From shakara, shakara yashkuru. أشكرك, I thank you. على هذا الحديث, for. We're not going to say على, or I thank you on. I thank you for, right? هذا الحديث المفيد. This hadith means this speech, this talk, right? Al-Mufid, this beneficial talk, right? From Fa ya dal mufid, from like the word fa'ida. Ashkuruka ala hadha al-hadith al-mufid. I thank you for this beneficial talk. وَسَأَكْتُبُ إِلَى أَخِي, and I'm going to write إِلَى أَخِي, to my brother, وَصَدِيقِي Jamil, and my friend Jamil. وَسَأُرْسِلُ الْكِتَابَ بِالْبَرِيدِ, and I'm going to send ursilu from arsala yursilu, and I'm going to send al-kitaba, going to send the letter, bil-barid, by post, by mail. وَإِذَا كَتَبْتُ الْكِتَابَ, and when I wrote, and when I have written the letter, جِئْتُكَ, I came to you, but meaning I'm going to come to you. جِئْتُكَ from جَاءَ يَجِئُ, bihi, with it, meaning with the kitab, with the letter. فَتَرَاهُ, and so then you see it, you look at it. وَتُصْلِحُهُ from aslaha yuslihu, meaning, and you correct it, you make the corrections, you rectify it, you fix it. قال Tariq, Tariq, he said, hubban, and again this is a typo, hubban wa karamatan. This is a way of saying hubban, meaning out of love, wa karama, and honor. Basically, I would love and be honored to do so. Yasurruni an usa'iduka. Yasurruni from sin ra, meaning to be happy. Yasurruni, it makes me happy. An usa'idaka from sin ain dal form 3. Usa'idaka, and makes the verb after it mansub. Yasurruni an usa'idaka. It makes me happy that I help you. Now, inshallah ta'ala, we'll try to read it from the top as always, and then we'll be finished with this. He says, Al-Barid Al-Thani, the mail, part 2. Qala Khalid. Khalid said, وَكَيْفَ يَكُونُ السَّاعِي يَا طَارِق, and how is the mailman Tariq? أَنَا مَا رَأَيْتُهُ قَطْ, I've never seen him. قال Tariq, أَمَا رَأَيْتَ رَجُلًا, have you not seen a man يَرْتَدِّي حُلَّةً لَوْنُهَا رَمَادِي, have you not seen a man, he's wearing a uniform, he's wearing a suit, its color is gray. فِيهَا أَزْرَارٌ نُحَاسِيَّةٌ, it has brass buttons. وَعَلَى رَأْسِهِ عِمَامَةٌ, and on his head is an imama, a turban. يَحْمِلُ حَقِيبَةً مِنْ جِلْد, he's carrying a bag made from leather, made from animal skin. قال Khalid, Khalid, he said, نعم قد رأيته, indeed I saw him. وَرَأَيْتُ حَقِيبَةً, and I saw a bag. وَهِيَ مَلْآنَ, and it was full. بِالْأَوْرَاقِ, with papers. وَأَزْرَارُهُ نُحَاسِيَّةُ تَلْمَعُ, and his buttons, his brass buttons, were shiny. وَعِمَامَتُهُ تَظْهَرُ مِنْ بَعِيدٍ, and his turban, you could see it from far. قال Tariq, ذَلِكَ هُوَ السَّعِي الْبَرِيدِ, that is the mailman, Ya Khalid, O Khalid. وَالنَّاسُ يَنْتَظِرُونَهُ جِدًّا, and the people, they wait for him a lot. وَيَشْتَقُونَ إِلَيْهِ, and they desire to see him, they miss him, they covet his visit when he comes to them. خُصُوصًا, especially فِي الْقُرَى, in the villages. وَأَنْتَ تَنْتَظِرُهُ أَيْضًا, and you wait for him also. إِذَا كَتَبْتَ كِتَابًا, if you wrote a letter. وَانْتَظَرْتَ جَوَابَهُ, and you were waiting for its reply. وَإِذَا طَلَبْتَ كِتَابًا مِنْ تَاجِرِ كُتُبٍ, and when you requested a book from a bookseller. قال Khalid, وَرَأَيْتُ يَا طَارِق رَجُلًا آخَر, and I saw, Tariq, another man. يرتدي مثل حلة السعي. He wears the same suit as the mailman. وله أزرار نحاسية, and he has brass buttons. وعلى رأسه عمامة, and on his head is a turban. أيضا also. ولكن ليس عنده, but he doesn't have حقيبة من جلد, a bag from leather. وهو على دراجة حمراء, and he is on a red bike. أراه, I see him, يذهب بسرعة, going quickly, كأنه مستعجل, as if he's in a hurry. قال طارق, Tariq said, هو أيضا سعي البريد. He is also a mailman. ولكنه لا يوزع الكتب, but he doesn't distribute letters. بل يوزع البرقيات. Rather, he distributes telegrams. ويذهب على دراجة حمراء, and he goes on a red bike من مكان إلى مكان, from place to place. ليصل سريعا, so that he reaches there quickly. فإن الناس لا يرسلون البرقية, for the people, they don't send telegrams إلا لتصل سريعة, except that they would reach quickly. والناس يعرفونه بدراجته الحمراء, and the people know him by his red bicycle. قال خالد, ولكن كيف يقدر رجل واحد أن يوزع الكتب في جميع أنحاء المدينة? And how is one man capable of distributing the letters in all of the directions of the city? قال طارق, لا. He said, no. في مكتب البريد رجال كثير. In the post office there are many men. ولكن ناحية ولكل ناحية, and for every ناحية, every direction, every area. من أنحاء المدينة, from the area or directions of Medina. ولكل حي, for every neighborhood. من أحياء البلد, and from every neighborhood, from the different neighborhoods of the city. ساع is a mailman. قال خالد, وكيف ينفق مكتب البريد الأموال الكثيرة? And how does the post office pay all this money? وكيف يخدم مجانا? And how do they serve free? ورجال البريد يرتدون حللا ويحملون حقائب ويركبون دراجات. And the mailmen, they wear these suits and they carry bags and they ride bikes. فمن أين تأتي هذه الأموال? So from where does all this money come? قال طارق, إن مكتب البريد يأخذ أجرة. Indeed, the post office, it takes a fare, a wage, a fee. من كل من يرسل كتابا بالبريد, for everyone who sends a letter by post. قال خالد, he said, وما هذه الأجرة? And what is this fee? ومتى تدفعها يا أخي? And when do you pay it, O my brother? قال طارق, قد اشتريت هذا الطابع. I bought this stamp, this postage stamp, من مكتب البريد, from the post office. وهذه هي أجرة البريد, and this is the mail's or the post's fee. قال خالد, he said, أشكرك على هذا الحديث المفيد. I thank you for this beneficial talk. وسأكتب إلى أخي, and I'm going to write to my brother. وصديقي جميل, and my friend Jamil. وسأرسل الكتاب بالبريد, and I'm going to send the letter by mail. وإذا كتبت الكتاب, and when I wrote the letter, جئتك به, I'm going to come to you with it. فتراه, and you look at it. وتصلحه, and you correct it. قال طارق, he said, حبا وكرامة. Loved out of love and honor. Basically, I would love and be honored to do so. سيسرني أن أساعدك أن أساعدك. It makes me happy that I help you. With that, we conclude, inshallah ta'ala, this section, this reading 28, which is the second half of 27. And we hope that you benefited. Much of the vocabulary was the same, that's why we sped through it, and there wasn't too much new here, but the story was good except for the few parts that we mentioned in the last reading about the speech that was not befitting towards the government. Inshallah ta'ala, if there's any questions or concerns, then you can contact me in the comment section below. Questions, concerns, corrections, as I am human and bound to make mistakes. I make slips of the tongue all the time, just my mind and speaking moving faster than my tongue. Inshallah ta'ala, hopefully we fix them inside of the thing, but if you find somewhere that I made a mistake, then please remind me. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.